thing I like about coming to KBN is I get to find out a bit about you before I speak, which is fabulous. So if I can tailor-make some things today to give you some tips specifically for your business, I'll do my best to try and help you with that. So thank you, Brad. Yes, my background is in advertising and marketing. I was very fortunate to work, I'm sorry, it is the same, 25 years ago, at one of the world's leading advertising agencies. I worked with Saatchi & Saatchi for a number of years. And they were at the top of their game at the time I was there, so very fortunate to be there. They, the only way I really don't understand the advertising industry and the fact that it was so ancient. The internet didn't exist. We didn't have mobile phones, and the bugger ad won millions of awards all over the place. So that was the era that I was working in advertising. I also worked for Ogilvy and Mather and Clemengers and a couple of other agencies as well. I then jumped ship and I worked for corporate, and I was the brand manager for AXA for a little while. And I ran the Rugby World Sevens, which was really exciting. Highlight of my career was being able to lead the New Zealand team out onto the pitch to win the Sevens that year, which was great fun. So a bit of event management as well as sponsorship management in there too. But I also had a production management company, excuse me, and we used to produce television, radio, billboards, press, direct marketing, you name it, whatever it was, we did it. In fact, the coolest little thing I did for a charity organisation was National AIDS Awareness Day, and one of the creatives at Saatchi's came up with little stickers. Now this is in the era before you press your button and open your car. You had to use your key to open your car. I'm getting really old now. And we did little stickers. They're about this big, and they look like a condom, and they were put over the top of where you put your key in. How cool is that? And they were all over all the cars in the whole city, so for that day. So we had teams of people out in the middle of the night putting them on people's cars. So there was some really creative stuff that happened. I was in the era of some real amazing creativity. The internet did come along, and yes, I did start producing clients who needed web presence and things like that. So I've learned a lot about internet marketing over the years. But it's interesting we've been talking about video this morning, because if you think about it, it's exactly the same as what happened with TV. TV changed an entire culture. And TV is extraordinary because it's sound and it's visual and it's movement and it's captivating. And when you do get on YouTube and all of a sudden you're watching a video about cats or making pizza or whatever else it is, and you think, what was I? 30 minutes ago I came to search for something and here I am watching this video. It's because it entrances you like Game of Thrones. All of a sudden you can absorb and you know everything about it. So video is just another extension of the TV culture. The difference is you can now see it on your phone. You can see it everywhere you go, you can search for it and all those sorts of things. So it's a very powerful tool for business. I would definitely agree with that. So that's my background. I also had my own advertising agency, and it was a boutique agency, and we targeted marketing for baby boomers and seniors, which is really interesting because I'm neither, I'm Gen X. So I learnt a lot about transgenerational marketing, and still today people don't do it well. And yet the majority of our population is age 50 plus. So if you're thinking about marketing and where your discretionary spend is and you want to know a little bit more about that, you can always ask me afterwards. I might have some tips for you to help if you're targeting the 50 plus audience. I am a best-selling author. I bought my book here today. This became a bestseller, I think it was before Christmas, this one. That is available online if you want to get hold of it. It actually has 3 books online called Know Me, Like Me, Trust Me, and it's all about building a personal brand, but I put them together in one book called Selling You. So if you want to grab a copy of that, it is available as an ebook online or a printed version. But the first book I wrote was not about branding. It was about endometriosis. And I don't know, there's lots of men in the room who may or may not know what endometriosis is. 1 in every 7 women have endometriosis. Some of them don't know it. It's just when they come to try and have children, they can't manage to do that because of the issue they have. I knew I had it because I had horrendous pain. I had pain for about 30 years. I was misdiagnosed with all sorts of things, had operations and God knows what for kidneys and bowel and all sorts of stuff before somebody decidedly listened to me and sent me to a gynaecologist, who then told me, yes, you've got endometriosis. And I was promptly told at the age of 19 that I needed to have a baby. And that would sort me out. Don't know what I'd do after the 9 months and have this baby, but still. I didn't do that. Instead I used lots of hormone treatments and things like that also didn't work. And I got to my late 30s after I had a baby, and that didn't get rid of it either. And they were then saying, look, you just need to have a hysterectomy and be done with it. It might not cure your pain, but at least you won't have what you need to get rid of. Right? Oh, great. So I left the North Island of New Zealand and moved to the West Island about 5 years ago, and loved being here. And I was fortunate to be here because within the first 3 months I met a woman who happened to have a supplement that I tried, and I also cut back on the sugar and the dairy products and a bit of the bread products and things like that. But I added in a huge, I think it's about 14 different things in the stuff that I take, potassium, magnesium, copper, iodine, just selenium, just huge numbers of stuff that's in it. And in 3 months' time, my endometriosis disappeared. I had no pain. I was running around the house and my husband thought I'd gone mad. I was just, oh my God, my period's arrived and I have no pain. Up until then I had painkillers. I was taking about half a dozen codeine tablets a day for 2 weeks of every month, just to deal with the pain. And I had pills everywhere. They were in my handbag, they were in my glove box, they were in my house, everywhere. And that was 5 years ago, and I don't know if you could find a painkiller in our house now. I don't have them anywhere with me because I've managed to get rid of that just simply by changing what I was putting into my body. So that got me thinking I needed to share this story. I needed to tell my story about how I managed to get rid of my pain, beat my pain. So I wrote a book about it. And I didn't want to use my own name because I'm not a nutritionist. I didn't want to go down that path. I didn't want to be known as the endometriosis lady. It wasn't my path. My path was personal branding. So I decided to publish it as under a pen name. And the pen name is Lisa J. Faith, and she's got a completely other personality. I'm a bit schizophrenic. She's got her own website. A lot of women email Lisa J. Faith and ask her questions, like things like, because I put in my book, I'm not going to put in here what the name of the product is, because I'm not interested in selling it. I just want to help women who are the same as me, struggling to get around this, and they need help. And quite often I get emails from women saying, I know you won't tell me the name of the product. What's the name of the product? And luckily it's available worldwide, so people can get hold of it. But the message in that is the fact that if you've got a story in you, if you've got a message that you want to get out to the world, you don't have to worry about the fact that if it doesn't fit with your business, you can still get it out there. And I'm quite pleased that I've helped thousands of women around the world with that, just because I've been able to package that as another brand. So there's an opportunity. But the interesting thing about being a best-selling author really is that when I was 12, my English teacher told me I had word blindness, which was back in the 1980s, was the word for dyslexia. And he said to me, you would never ever be able to understand the written language properly, I would never be able to spell properly, and I'd have difficulty reading for the rest of my life. Which he knew me very well, because that was a red rag to a bull. Anything you tell Lauren she can't do, I'm not going to do it. So I took it upon myself, with his help, to teach myself how to understand how to spell in my own way. And I used to take a book home every day and someone would read out the words and I'd try and remember what they were and so on. And I threw myself into books. So again, the message is, here I am having been told I was word blind at 12, now being the best-selling author 5 times over. You can do it. Anyone can do it. You don't need to be a special writer or someone with an amazing skill or an incredible story. Anyone can become a best-selling author. And what does becoming a best-selling author do for your brand? Makes you the expert. Elevates it, makes you the expert. If you've written a book about something, you probably know a little bit about that topic. And in my half-day workshops we talk a little bit, don't we Julie, about how to become a best-selling author, and I just share with you the steps it takes to do exactly what I did, so that you can get a book on Amazon and become a best-selling author virtually overnight. So, I'll keep on my things here. What I want to know is, I'm assuming that everybody in the room sells a service. Hands up if you sell a service, and hands up if you sell a product. And if you do both, and if you're just putting up your hand because you're not quite sure what it is.
I'm just getting exercise.
Brilliant. So I work just for service providers. And the reason for that is it's really difficult, as I said before, it's really hard. If you're selling the invisible, you're selling an outcome, to explain to somebody, why should you come and see me to help you out? Why should I go and see you to help me with my mortgage or my pain or whatever it is that I've got, or my pests or whatever it is that you have? How is it? So a lot of people say there's 3 things they have trouble with. One is explaining very, very clearly and quickly what is it that I do, who is it that I help. Target audience is one of the hardest things for people to really nail down, and what's my niche? What do I want to be known as? Those are the 3 things that people find really difficult. So I'm hoping to give you a bit of an insight this morning into that. I work exclusively with a new service called neurobranding, and neurobranding is all about how the brain sees branded messages. And I've got an extra brain here today. I always bring my extra brain because I need it. Here's one with brain. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the brain, because there's some really interesting things that you can learn about neurobranding that will help you with promoting and marketing your business. Because often what I see, especially with service providers, is branding takes a back seat to marketing. And you think you've got a brand when you've got a logo and a website and that's it. And then you go out there and you do a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a bit of networking, and a bit of word of mouth, and you do a letterbox drop, and a bit of video, and whatever. And you're sort of like little skirmishes all over the place. and it's called WAFDAM marketing. Has anyone heard of WAFDAM marketing before?
What's that for?
Waste of fucking time and money. So, excuse my language, but that's exactly what it is. And this guts me because I see businesses spend a lot of time and effort and money on marketing that does nothing. So if you put branding first and all of a sudden you become known as the expert in something, this is the specific thing that I do really, really well, it makes marketing really easy because you know exactly how to reach the people you want to reach. You know if someone rings you up and says, have I got a deal for you? I can get you on the front page of Google or I can stick you in this magazine or whatever. You can go straight away, well, does this fit with my brand strategy? Well, actually, no, it doesn't. Thanks very much for the offer. I don't care how cheap it is. It doesn't matter. It's not going to do, it's a waste of time and money. So the interesting thing about understanding branding is that the brain sees brands quite differently to how you would expect. Now back in the 1970s, it was estimated that our brains were hit with about 500 branded messages a day, additional to the 60,000 thoughts that we all have, 500 messages, branded messages that our brain was being hit with. How many do you think we're getting hit with today?
30,000.
It's not quite that many. I think you'd probably go a bit nuts if you saw 30,000 brands. It's about 5,000. A day. It's about 4 every minute. This is just brands. This isn't just thoughts, this is brands. So you're seeing 4 different brands every minute. So that makes it really daunting, doesn't it, to know that you've got to cut through 5,000 other brands to get your brand in here. So the key thing I would suggest that you do is find a niche. Find a specific part of your business that you do with ease that other people find difficult. And that's my definition of a personal brand. It's the things that you do with ease that other people find difficult. It's why it's called expert ease. Think about what the stuff is that you do without even thinking about it, and that's the hardest part. Everybody drove here today? How many times did you use the indicator? You probably can't remember using it though, because how long have you been driving for? It's a lot like that with business. If you've been in business for 25 years, as have I, you forget a lot of stuff that you do, and you just do it automatically. You're on autopilot.
I just drive the places now without thinking about how I get here.
So you have to think with your personal branding about what is the stuff I do on autopilot that I just assume other people know. And they don't. They don't know it. And they find it really difficult. And you just go, what? I just do that with ease. That's your personal brand. Because people want that. You have that special thing that they want. So there is something in your brain that's stopping your brain from going completely crazy with these 5,000 messages that are hitting your brain, and it's called the amygdala. And it's a very old part of your brain. Seth Godin, who's a brain guru, talks about it as the lizard brain, and it's responsible for memory and emotion. And so that's why when we have fun, or we feel sad, or we get excited, you will always remember the environment you were in when that happened. And that's another tip for you this morning, is if you can tie an emotion into your messages and your marketing, your clients and your prospects will remember it 90% better than if you just told them something. So remember to be, the bugger ad was perfect like that. It was bloody funny. They had 120 complaints about that ad when it launched in New Zealand because of the language. In Australia, when they launched it, they had 1 complaint.
Was that a Toyota ad?
Bugger ad.
Yeah,
It's a Toyota ad.
Yeah.
But again, people remember it because of the emotion that it gave them. So they either loved or hated it. So, and you do tend to do that. That's the amygdala in your brain attaching a memory, an emotion, to that memory for you to recall later on. The interesting thing about the amygdala is that it does block a lot of stuff out that is out there in the world, like all these brands and your branding and marketing messages that you think people automatically see, but they don't. The amygdala just stores them in the subconscious and doesn't let them through into the conscious. And isn't it frustrating as a service provider that you get such a long time between somebody, they know they need to see a mortgage provider about something. Everybody needs to see a mortgage provider rather than going to the bank. I mean, why would you do that? It's obvious, isn't it? But needing it and wanting it, 2 different things. And how long does it take normally from somebody saying, oh, I should probably talk to a mortgage broker, to actually getting around to doing it?
Long time, 3 months.
Wow, ages. Worse, Nolan, the hearing specialist, you know the average time it takes for a man, because it's mostly men, to decide that they've got a problem with their hearing and actually going and getting something done.
2 years.
How long?
2 years.
Oh, not quite 30.
No, 2 years.
Oh, 9.
9 years.
9 years on average. But it's normally the wife dragging them in by the ear.
Yeah.
Saying, no, there's something about this. So it's a long time to wait. It's very frustrating. Imagine marketing to somebody for 9 years before they actually spent their money with you. So one way to get through the brain and to make that turn from a need to a want more quickly is to make sure you're dealing with it on an emotional level, to turn the desire up and to make yourself noticed, to get noticed and become interesting to that particular prospect. So as an example, Brad, was there a particular type of vehicle, a car or something that you once really wanted to have, a make or model of vehicle? I want one of those.
Mini John Cooper's special.
Cool. So when you then decided, I want a Mini, did you see lots of them around the place?
Yes, yeah.
They were always there, but your amygdala was just blocking out the stuff that wasn't interesting and letting through the stuff you're interested in. It's called reticular activation or something like that. But that's the thing, all of these brands are out there, your brand is out there, and people walk past it every day. They're not interested. So the thing is to try to find ways to be interesting to your prospects. And I talk about this a lot. The way to find that out is to put yourself in their shoes on a regular basis. Because you're thinking about your business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They aren't. They're getting 5,000 messages hitting their brain about other brands and 60,000 thoughts and all these other things going on. You need to find a way to become interesting. Not just this is us, this is what we do, blah, blah. Find a way of being interesting to them. Why should they listen? Why should they want to know about you? And one of the things that's really interesting is that human beings aren't particularly good at being happy. Did you know that? We're not very good at being happy. We're very good at seeking happiness. So that, for ladies, that's the new shoes that you see. And you can't think of anything else but those new shoes and how great they're going to look and that amazing dress that you've got. And they'll make your legs longer and they'll be fantastic. And I just want those shoes. There's a chemical that drives the brain's desire and it's called dopamine. And dopamine just does exactly that. It just highlights that desire. So as long as you can start to stand out to your clients, then paint a desirable picture about what the outcome is going to be once they've used your services, then the dopamine desire will kick into their brain. And the trouble is, dopamine's great, and then when you get that thing, be it the new car or the new power tool or the holiday, whatever it is you're going for, or you've got your house got rid of your bugs, whatever it is, the desire's done, you get a hit of opiates. And opiates makes you feel great. But what's the problem with opiates?
Short-lived.
They wear off. So then there's another pair of shoes. Or
It
another thing
doesn't
you
solve
want.
anything.
Absolutely.
So,
So this is another idea for you to think about how can you drive a dopamine desire for your clients, your prospects, to actually go from need to want. And one of the ways to do that, and we talk about the outcome, we talk about always being a pro. Lots of people talk about the problem, I've got roaches under my house or in my kitchen. They'll talk about the solution, the resolution, becoming a pro. Problem, resolution, outcome. Problem, I've got cockroaches. Resolution, I'll come around and I'll spray them and get rid of them and give you 12-month guarantee and whatever. And that's where you stop with your marketing. You need to paint a picture of the outcome. Because that's what they want. If you're cleaning pools, what's the image of them sitting around the pool on a Saturday, not having to clean their pool? If they've got the house that they really want, they're not paying a huge amount of money, what does it look like? What does it feel like to prospects to actually get the outcome of what you're offering? If it's accounting services and all those sorts of things, how much easier is their life that you can just click on a phone and you're done? What's the outcome of it? I work with a property management company, and their website has an image of a lovely middle-aged couple lying back in a hammock laughing. There's not one image of property or people dangling keys, all those lovely images, no. That's the outcome. I want to be able to have an investment property and have someone managing it so I can just relax and enjoy myself. Because the brain works in pictures. It doesn't work in words, which is why video is so important. Can I prove to you that the brain works in pictures? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of words, and I'd like you just to concentrate on the words, and then I'm going to ask you a question about those words. Okay? So you ready? So pens down. I'm just going to let you concentrate on those things. The words are bacon and eggs. So what did you see in your brain when I said bacon and eggs?
A picture of
Breakfast.
Yeah.
Did I tell you they were cooked? I didn't tell you anything about them. Your brain made up the story, it made up the picture. And this is the amygdala. Your amygdala will paint a picture of your desired outcome. Most people see their favourite eggs, whether they're scrambled or poached. They said that breakfast, some people see the breakfast we just had. Thank you, Julie, it was absolutely divine. So your brain works in pictures, so use images, use video, paint the outcome for your prospects because it will move them from need to want very, very quickly. Okay, good stuff? Cool. So, next, you've all got entrepreneurial brains, which is really exciting. Everyone would say you're an entrepreneur in the room? Yeah? Now, entrepreneurial brains are quite different to normal brains because normal brains that just get up and go to a job don't tend to think outside the box too often. Whereas what you did with your brain, when you decided, right, I'm going to go into business for myself, what were the things your brain was saying to you when you did that? What?
I wonder that.
What do you mean you're going to go out on your own? What's the story? How are you going to get clients? You don't know enough to do a business. You need to spend some money. Oh my God, we have to spend some money. How are we going to make money? So this, I call it the itty bitty shitty committee that goes on in the back of your brain. I normally tell it, thank you for sharing and then shut up. But you didn't. You said to your brain, thank you for sharing that. I don't care about the risk. I'm going to do it anyway. So you basically took control of your amygdala, which is a superhuman power. Not everybody does that. So congratulations, you're a superhuman. You've taken control of your own brain. The trouble with being superhuman, however, is that superhumans always have kryptonite. And your kryptonite is something called bright, shiny objectitis. And every entrepreneurial brain suffers from it. And if you're not careful, it will kill your business. Because what happens with bright, shiny objectitis, which is fabulous, because you come up with brilliant ideas, but oh look, there's another person we could be marketing to. Oh, we could add that to our service. What do we could ship it in from China and stick it in a box and put it on Amazon and make lots of money. And I had one lady the other day, and she's a travel consultant, and she said to me, I've had a brilliant idea. I said, what is it? She said, I'm going to target the gay market. They've got plenty of money. I went, that is a good idea. I've got lots of gay friends named Norman, dinkies, double income, no kids, great, lots of money, they like travelling. I said, do you know lots of gay people? No. Oh, so have you done travel holidays before for gay people? No. Do you know where they like to go and what they... No. But they've got lots of money. Bright, shiny objectitis. And she's got a massive market sitting right in front of her that she's not even marketing to, which she loves working with. So yeah, be careful with bright, shiny objectitis because it will lead to FOMO. The fear of missing out. And it's the worst thing for your business, the worst thing for your marketing is trying to be everything to everyone. Everyone needs mortgage advice, absolutely, but you don't want to help everyone. You don't want to be a generalist, you want to be a specialist. So, would you all agree with that being a generalist is a problem? Because I often tell the story that, Brad, if you got sick today and you decided I need to go to see the doctor, you might get in maybe tomorrow or Monday, you'd get in to see the doctor and you'd know where to go because there's a big sign that says doctor, bulk billing, blah, blah, blah. And you go in and you pay, what, $60? Or, well, putting to somebody $7 more than we used to pay, but yeah. And the doctor, if they found out you were really sick, like you'd had this food poisoning and you got really sick, you need to actually see a specialist. How long until you saw a specialist?
3 months.
3 months? And how much would you pay them?
A lot, far too much.
Far too much? And would they market themselves, or would your doctor say to you, look, I know this person who you need to see, they're brilliant, I know this, and this, and I'll book you in with them?
It's a system.
Absolutely. So, what would you rather be, the generalist or the specialist?
I don't know.
You'd rather work for anybody and do anything and earn a little bit of money and have to market yourself, or sit over here and work whenever you wanted to, choose the people you worked with, charge them whatever you want to, and never have to market yourself because you get lots and lots of referrals, really good referrals. So having a personal brand is becoming the specialist. And it's one of the hardest things to do because you've got an entrepreneurial brain that's constantly saying to you, no, don't niche, you're going to miss out on all these people. But what you don't realise is if you niche, you become the expert. People go to you because they love what you do. You like working with them because they're ideal clients and they pay you lots of money and they refer you to everybody else. You never have to market yourself again. And if you do, it's really easy. So become the specialist. That's the next tip I have for you today. The other thing about overcoming FOMO is understanding that the confused mind will never buy. And I met someone the other night, actually she's a lovely woman, Jane, and she promptly handed me 2 business cards. Has anyone here got a business card with a business on one side and another business on the other? Do you love those people when you meet them? FOMO, they're hedging their bets. So yes, the confused mind will never buy. And if somebody's confused about what you do and who you are and who you help and why you help them, because you're confused about that, they're never going to buy from you. They won't buy from you and they won't refer to you. They just want to know, the brain just wants to know, who am I dealing with? Can you help me? And can I trust you? Know me, like me, trust me. It's really simple. So, excuse me, it's all about becoming the hunter, the hunted instead of the hunter. And it's often interesting because the brain prefers stuff that it knows. It doesn't like new. So if you're having to educate somebody that I've got a new app or a new way of doing something, just be aware of the fact it's going to take a lot longer for people to trust you and to want your services to buy them through. So much as you might be tempted to do bright, shiny objectitis and keep adding new things to your business, you're actually hurting your brand. Don't throw those ideas away, mind you. I once worked at a fabulous design company called Van der Rohe Design. Has anyone heard of Van der Rohe Design? Gus Van der Rohe was an amazing guy. Excuse me, again, in the era before computers, when people had to draw, he would go around the agency at night and he would dig through the rubbish bins and take out all the creative stuff that the agency had been working on and thought it was no good. And he would flatten it out and put it in a drawer, because he knew damn well that there'd be a client come in the door at some stage and there'd be, oh, perfect idea for you. It's this one we came up with 6 months ago for somebody else. So don't throw your ideas away. Don't stop your bright, shiny objectitis from making you the entrepreneur that you are. Keep them in a book, keep them in a diary, put them online, whatever it is, keep them somewhere, because you never know when they might serve you. But at least that way you can decide, is this good for my business right now? Does this align itself with my brand? Should I be doing this? Does it get to the right people that I'm targeting, or doesn't it? And if it doesn't, put it aside, it might change later on. So don't lose the ideas, but don't let them direct your business to where you're going, because the brain likes what it knows. It doesn't like new stuff. It finds it really hard. Would you like to practice that? Can you stick your foot out in front of you where you are without kicking somebody? Excuse me, throwing the first one. What I'd like you to do is turn your foot in a clockwise direction. Okay, and while you're turning your foot in a clockwise direction, I'd like you to point a finger in the air and draw a 6 and tell me what happens to your foot. Goes the other way, doesn't it?
No.
Mustard, Russell bar. So the thing is, you've probably been writing the number 6 for years and years and years. You know, your brain knows without even doing it. It knows how to draw 6, but you don't often sit there and turn your foot around it. So it goes back to what it knows rather than what's new. So remember that with your branding. So, last things for you. What do I talk about? I think that's probably enough to give you for today. Is your brain a little bit full with what I've... Do you need my extra brain for the rest of the morning? I'll maybe lend it to you.
I need it most days.
Most days.
Have you got a
You might have to
USB
get your
plug?
own, so yeah. Would anyone be interested in spending any more time with me for me to help you work on your brand positioning? Because if I've got 5 minutes just to share with you what I do, I have half-day personal branding workshops, which Julie mentioned before, that it's lovely to have you there. I like the fact that you've chosen the word grow. That's a really nice word to use as your foundation.
Sorry, excuse me, but family emergency.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Take it.
I have some flyers here, great flyers, you can pass those around, and there's registration forms there as well. I'm just going to borrow the top one because I can't remember my dates. I did one yesterday in Brisbane at Kangaroo Point, and I'll be back there again in April. It's just 9 till 1, so it's not a whole day, it's just a half a day. And the next one's actually this Saturday at Cleveland. I've got 2 seats, I think, but no, 4 seats available, that one. I'm back up in Brisbane on the 9th of April, and I only have 10 people at a time at my workshops. So that's so that we can work one-to-one on your brand. We talk a lot about the hidden message in branding and neuro-branding and how to understand that in terms of logos and colours for your marketing so that you get the right messages across. The majority of the time, though, we spend finding your single-minded purpose. What is your inch-wide, mile-deep niche that you want to be known for? The thing that you want to become a specialist in so that people are referring to you all the time. We also talk a little bit about online reputation, and I don't do websites and social media and things like that, but I give you a bit of an idea. Everyone's got a Facebook page or a blog or whatever else. I help you with what sort of content you should be publishing on there to, again, elevate your status as an expert, and where to find that content and how to get it going so that every time you're posting something, it's making you, again, look like the expert. and it's a very cool way to do it. Also, I do go through those steps to become a best-selling author, because I do believe that if you can write a 10,000 word book and get it online and have it as a lead gen or whatever you want to do with it, it elevates your status. If you've written a book about that topic, and I do hear people say, oh, anyone can write a book. Yeah, so why doesn't everyone do it? There are some specific steps that I give you actually to become a best-selling author, because that's even more important. If you can walk into a room and say, I'm a best-selling author in something, man, what does that do to you, leveraging your authority status? Basically, the half-day workshop gives you clarity and direction for your business, so that you know what to do when it comes to marketing. The people who come to it, I've had business coaches love it. Margarita said she got the value of the workshop, which is $97, in the first hour that she was there. So she was quite excited about that. Keith develops websites. He's an online director, and he said what we achieved in 4 hours was more than he'd tried to achieve in the last 3 months on his own. So he was quite excited too. Karen from real estate, she said she got complete clarity with who she was and how she was going to stand out and be different, because real estate's real estate's real estate, so that was quite cool. Gary was a plumber. He's got lightweight plumbing down on the coast, and he's been there for years and years. He said branding is so much more than marketing. We just went into areas that he had no idea even existed, so that really helped him. Trudy was a photographer, and photographer, again, it's hard with services, isn't it? Because anyone can pick up a camera and all of a sudden you're a photographer. Or say I'm a mortgage broker after doing whatever it is. It's very easy to get into the services-based industry, so anyone can say they do it. So Trudy said it was fantastic because it gave her actionable steps. I've got to do this, this and this, and that's what's going to set me up as being different. Basically, it's for anyone who's selling the invisible. If you're selling a service and you're struggling to know who your target audience is, how to explain what it is that you do, and what your niche is, then the half-day workshop's for you. The dates you've got, limited seats. You can register today, but I do also have a complimentary book for everybody who's come today. It's called The 5 Steps to Have a Brand That Soars, and I will email that to you. If you just give me your business card before I go today, and I'll send you a link so that you can go and download. Did you download your copy of that, Julie, yet?
I started to and then got sidetracked.
Oh my God, you're probably watching YouTube.
Yeah,
Absolutely, she's off again. So that's a guidebook I'd like to give all of you. It's available on Amazon, but I'd like to give you a PDF version of it so you can read it anywhere. It's an illustrated version, so make sure you give me your card. And do you have any other questions about the branding and your power of authority?
I do.
Yes.
I've sort of been just revamping my brand at the moment. And one thing I noticed for accounting firms is they sometimes have, okay, we're an accounting firm, but we specialise with doctors, vets and tradies. So they sort of put on their website that they specialise
With doctors, vets and tradies. Wow, that's exciting.
And one even sort of said pawnbrokers. So they're trying to niche on
No,
there,
they're not.
right? So that was my question to you. Is that in any way effective, or you really got to say, look, that's one business as an accountant, but a new website, totally new branding, we specialise
In
with
this, absolutely,
this.
absolutely. And it's the interesting thing that I've seen, and it is difficult for the entrepreneurial brain, because your brain is constantly, but there's all these people you're going to miss out on, and it does it all the time. But I tell you what, when you specialise in an area, I've increased my charges 500% since I specialised. 500%. I have a limit of 5 people a month that I work with on my 90-day coaching that I work through with them, and that's it. And I have people on a waiting list. How would that be for your business if you said, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm full this month. Can't take any more clients, but I can put you on a waiting list, and they're happy to wait. That's what happens when you become a specialist. I've actually got an interesting business card here that I'd like to share with you. This came through my letterbox the other day. I'll read it to you if that's all right with you. It says, cheap man and ute hire. Mini movers, big movers, anything. Furniture pickup, house maintenance, lifts to shops and shopping centres, doctors, etc. Help with lifting furniture, help shifting, pet feeding, walking, animal transport, lawn mowing, garden maintenance, rubbish removal, Elvis tribute, live music, 50s, 60s, 70s, rock and roll, jumping castle hire and limousine hire. And he is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I didn't print this up. This actually came through my letterbox. What sort of life do you think he
Did you
has?
call him and say?
No, I have not called him. I've been
I'd be calling
from
it an
hell.
Elvis tribute.
Yeah,
Elvis tribute.
Yeah. Elvis tribute, yeah,
Yeah,
he might
he-
mow your lawn while he's
You
there.
might do that in Elvis.
So,
Yeah,
In the Elvis outfit.
so
And you can put Johnny
Well,
Castle at
that's-
the same time.
I reckon that'd be his niche. Yeah,
niche?
Elvis mowing.
Elvis mowing.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
people
Just go out and mow it, or mow your lawn as Elvis.
How many people would book him? But no, he's doing all this. I agree. If I had a lawn, I'd get him to mow it.
Yeah, yeah.
But no. So yeah, that's the thing. Does that answer your question? Cool. Any other questions?
When you do the, what do you call it, the fake person for writing a book, do you put an image up there of yourself?
Yes. Yeah. If you go to Lisa J. Faith, you'll see a picture of her. I've got glasses on, which I used to have reading glasses. And it's
So
off
it
to
is
the
you?
side. It is me, but it just, no one would put two of us together. And I do say in the book, it's all my story. I say I'm not a nutritionist, I'm just a mum, and I tell my story throughout the book. But it's Lisa J. Faith. And there's a reason why I use that name as well, and I share that with you in the half-day workshop. But we also do a lot in the workshop about really identifying who your client audience is. Exactly, specifically, who it is that you want to work with. Because life's too short to work with arseholes. I agree with you. We had that conversation this morning about ideal prospects and inviting them to go and join someone else. I've got a book called The No Arsehole Rule. I didn't write it, I bought it from somebody else, but it's a great book. And the first thing it says is, introduce them to your competitors. Lead them down the road by the hand. Here you go. I've got someone, I'm too busy to help you, but I'd like to introduce you to someone who can. I don't know if it goes so far as to call them an idiot, but I think they would, but yeah. So I've got another one that's interesting too. Have I got 5 seconds to share this one? Keita told me an interesting story at a BNI meeting I was speaking at the other day. This is her brand. I don't know if you heard of Western Farmers Insurance. So they're not Western Farmers Insurance because they had a breakaway company, so they just called themselves WFI. And this is their brand that went out there. Now Keita told me, lovely girl, she said she got a call a week or so ago from an elderly gentleman, and he was desperate in need of help. And he rang her and said, I need you to come to me, I need help straight away. And she said, well, I don't normally go out, I just do things over the phone. And he said, no, don't want to know about over the phone, I need you to come to my house and help me. Okay then, where do you live? So she said, he's a nice old man, I'll go and help him. So she drove out into the countryside, up to his house, it was at night, knocked on the door, got into the house and realised it wasn't insurance that he had a problem with, it was his internet.
Oh, Wi-Fi.
So again, what is your brand telling people that you are, that you actually aren't? You have to be really careful with this. And this is the cool stuff I share. You admit that hidden messages and brands is pretty cool. You find some stuff out about branding that you never knew was there before. And it's all subliminal, it all goes into the amygdala, and the amygdala sees things really differently. So helping you understand how to position yourself with all of your marketing messages, what sort of imagery you should be using, and colours that you should be using, and language. So that's really cool. Cool. You're very, very welcome. So any questions, ask me afterwards. Definitely give me your business card and I'll send you out that complimentary book. And if you want to come to one of my workshops, fill out the form and send it to me. If there's a date on there that doesn't suit you, please just write on there, tell me when your next one is. But I am back in Brisbane on the 9th of April. Other than that, I'm in Cleveland on the weekend. Cool.
Sure.
Thanks,
Excellent. Thanks, Lauren. Good job.